How much a dollar cost? That's the phrase we use to explain when we're about to talk about some economics. Obviously, we have to talk about tariffs. Southeast DC, East Capitol Projects. That's where my mama from. You know, obviously, I'm Killer Cali, West Coast, LA native. But my mama from the district, you know what I'm saying? I got an Aunt Curlin. Really, I do. It's the third oldest of her siblings. You know, Aunt Curlin's son was named Aaron. Come on now, everybody from the DMV, stand up. You feel me? My mama from the district. That's why I be making all the tariff jokes. You gotta take care of your mother and your father. Watch out for these Bamas out here. You know what I'm saying? Where these Bamas from? Look, man, listen to some go-go. This one thing has got me tripping. Dun. How much a dollar cost? It was a song on To Pimp a Butterfly was where the name, how much. I'm saying this for all the new people who may have just joined the show, because the show is growing finally. Thank you for sharing the show with the homies. I'm really trying to make this thing crack. So please, I never do the like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Leave a comment, but like, please. Good God. It was a song on To Pimp a Butterfly, which has more to do with like, you know, kind of like selling out for fame. You know, that money is so important that like, so basically the price you paid for that money you got was your soul, is the concept of the song. But the way I'm using it is that, yeah, it takes money to make money. So every dollar has a price on it, and it's not just a dollar. When my daughter, when she was like getting a little older and started asking for us to, you know, she wanted to go to In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A. She just wanted to go out to eat every day. I needed to explain to her that like people get paid hourly, you know, for the amount of work it takes for us to be able to buy that $10 meal. You know, like if you're doing minimum wage out here, $22 an hour. Like, so if it's like, okay, then your $11 meal is a half hour work, right? So, you know, you want to do that, and then you want to stop for some Jamba Juice, and then you want to like, you know, get ice cream later on, and then get sushi at the end of the day. It's like, okay, well, that equals that those dollars cost time. Right? How much does it cost? And that time is time away from you. Like mommy and daddy have to go to work to it. So that's how much that costs. Now, it wasn't so that she would not like ask us for stuff. It was more just for her to understand, you know, the value of a dollar. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much is that worth for you? In more street sense, it's like, how much is your backpack worth? How much is your bike worth? Is it worth this fade you finna get when somebody can run up and say, borrow your bike right quick? I remember like I used to have to look them vatos in the face and be like, I'll die for this backpack. Of course I won't die for the backpack, but that's how much would this backpack cost? You stealing my backpack? Yeah, the backpack's like $25, $30, $50, but I'm willing to run a fade over a $50 thing. It's going to cost me way more than the price of this backpack. But what I receive in that is safe passage the next time I would like to walk through my own neighborhood to get home. How much a dollar costs? Today, we're going to talk about how much these tariffs are really going to cost. How much a dollar costs? The Trump versus everybody edition. Hood politics, y'all. Hey, how's everybody doing? This is the first Monday of the month, which means that yesterday was the first Sunday. Thank you for y'all who pulled up to Real Ones. One of you was like, yo, I'm a fan of the show. I was like, word, that's why you here? That's dope. Man, I hope that fool had a good time. I forgot your name. I apologize, but I'm so glad you pulled up and enjoyed yourself. I'm trying to see this year for all these worlds to combine, like the rap world, for which, please listen to this. If you're listening to this Wednesday, this week, that means Friday, you would have in your hands the first single of the new music I'm rolling out called Passion Project. Matter of fact, Matt Alsowski, why don't you throw a little snippet of Passion Project out this mug right here? I'll wait.
I get it. I wish they learn to listen though. Finna go invest a million blessings in my children though. Change their direction effective as penicillin, yo. Progeny will probably repeat these syllables. Finna pull hard drive out a sentinel. Why isn't all literal?
Thank you. Passion Project.
I got dinner guan and dinner bowls. Perfect starch creases in my denim or my linen, bro. Practicing diligence. Know a couple younglings offended by your insolence. Inherited passion that me and Stick passed them.
While we all know that Spotify does not pay well, it pays way more when you own the masters. And I own the masters. So stream away. But yeah, all right. I'm going to talk to y'all. Let me lay the day out because this is definitely teacher prop. Now, I'm pretty sure y'all done seen and heard because that's all everybody talk about besides the if you in our social space, the hands off my democracy protests, which I'm a little out of the loop about it because it seems as though overall the black community sat this one out. It was like, y'all are already erasing Black Lives Matter, but we tried to tell you. Okay, it's your turn. Where we at? We got you the civil rights. Like, come on, fam. We tried to tell y'all. Told y'all that. We told you they was coming for you. Now it's your turn. You go march. We been marching. Now I'm all about solidarity among suffering folk. This kind of funny though. What I'm saying is, if your news ain't talking about that, if y'all apparently y'all done talking about what the hell that thing? Oh, the Signal Houthi group. And you know what? Somebody sent me a clip from Joe Rogan show where whoever they had on there, let me find who they had on that thing, because like somebody actually made a humane statement, you know what I'm saying? Which you don't get much. So Dave Smith, whoever the hell that is, was on Joe Rogan and he was like, look, dude, the thing that bothers me was how all of y'all are okay with this? I don't understand how are all of you okay with this? Are we ignoring one of the open statements when they said, oh, we found the guy we're looking for. He just walked into this apartment building. Let's bomb the apartment building. Y'all are nobody has an objection. Nobody has an objection with, first of all, Yemen is the poorest country in the Middle East who's already locked into a civil war. And it's really not our problem. Like we're bombing them to help Israel because the Houthis feel like this senseless war against the people of Gaza, they trying their best to defend their homie, and we're just gonna bomb a whole ass apartment building. This guy Dave was like, do none of y'all believe there's a God? Like, even if like at least some semblance in that, like maybe this God or the universe gonna have something to say about the fact that you bombing these people. Like you're really like openly killing innocent people. Obviously, a lot of us feel like, well, that question has been asked and answered a long time ago, or we wouldn't have been in this place in the first place. Speaking of Gaza, y'all see this anti-apartheid club shirt I'm rocking here. But if you're on the ears edition, please go follow Pally Roots. They did not ask me to do this. My homeboy Jared out in New Zealand, who's like one of the most well-informed, educated, just an incredible, like sometimes I feel like this man talking circles around me. I've never had nobody be able to explain justice to me, especially a white boy. Like, I mean, he's incredible. But he put me on to the Pally Roots. They slang merch and feed Palestinian children. It's really simple. So yeah, speaking of a senseless war in Gaza. Since we done talking about that, now we talking about our own money. We might as well do some lessons here. Now, caveat, like I've said many times, when I was taking the CSET, which is the single subject education credentialing to be able to teach in California, since I taught social sciences, it's a 3-part test and each part has 3 parts. There's an essay, there's whatever. When it got to the economics one, I failed that mug 3 times because of the stuff we about to talk about again in here. This is our review if you've been a fan of the show. Economics, at least the way we talk about it, don't make sense to me. It seems like you're making this way more difficult than it needs to be. To me, economics was simple. Don't spend money you ain't got. I don't know. Spend less than you make. Make more than you spend. If you're going to invest, you want to make sure you sell it for more than you bought it for. It just seemed, I don't know. Don't spend money you ain't got. It seemed real simple to me. Apparently there are terms for all that and there are charts to measure it. It just don't make sense to me. I don't understand why you need all these words to say that. Then you start getting into speculation where you saying, I think this is going to cost this much. What? When people say they're worth $1 billion, but that's what you believe when you add all their assets together. That's like, so it's imaginary? Well, how much money you got in your bank? They be like, well, $10,000. I'm like, nigga, then that's how much money you got. I don't understand how you could be worth $1 billion, but you got this private jet, but you got to take out a mortgage to be able to pay the gas. Then like, you ain't got, like, my grandma used to say, as long as somebody owe you money, you'll never be broke. So what they say is, I'm like, well, then you had to borrow somebody else's money. I'm like, you can't owe $1 billion and say you have $1 billion. You have no money if you owe $1 billion. Like, that's the way I thought. I don't know. That's probably why I'm not rich. Because to me, I was like, I don't understand how this works. And then you have this economic theory called the everyday man. And the everyday man is like the average person. So when you read in these charts, it's calibrated to what they would call the average person. The only problem with the average person is nobody is that person, because that person is not an age. It's between the age of. That person don't live in a particular city. They live in any town city. They got 2.5 kids. Nobody on the planet ever in the existence of human beings has had half a child. That's just not, so why are all of your models based on a human that none of us can be? That just doesn't, I don't understand. Your whole system don't work if no one is the average. Well, you had it all together. I'm like, that don't make sense to me. I'm just supposed to accept that the calibration of this thing is a person that none of us are? When you start saying the economy is good, you mean the line go up? So that mean the economy bad when the line go down. It seemed to me like because of these tariffs, you telling me that Trump and Zuckerberg and Bezos and old Elon have lost $1 billion. It looked like their life ain't no different. That's an imaginary number. I don't understand how that line means money. Like, this is why it was so hard for me. So when you say the economy good or the economy bad, I'm like, either way, I can't afford the egg. Even when you said the economy was good, these eggs cost too much. Now you say the economy bad, the egg price of them eggs ain't changed. The only way we're affected is when the line go up, y'all make money. When the line go down, y'all start downsizing and firing people. It's imaginary money. I just don't understand. So that's how we affected, is we lose jobs because your imaginary line went down. I've since learned that it's a lot more to it than that. But this is why I failed it 3 times, because I was like, make it make sense. You have to understand economics, you have to suspend reality in some ways. In the same way of accepting, when you watched Game of Thrones, you just accepted a world that had dragons. Like, the dragons were just a part of the universe that, like, was so as a matter of fact that, like, nobody... We weren't even, it's not even the point of the show. You just have to accept it. So to understand the stuff I'm finna talk about, there's a little bit of you have to suspend reality. But once you suspend reality of these numbers don't seem like real numbers, then it all starts making sense. And then you could see how things that are imaginary actually do affect us. Like borders, they're made up. And specifically money, it's not real. But it's real when the bill collectors call. Now, let's get it cracking, homeboy. First, I'm gonna say, what is a tariff? I'm gonna say what Trump thinks this is gonna do, and then counterpoint, and then how the rest of the world dropped a clapback. You guys ready? Trump versus everybody. Let's dive in. All right, tariffs. The question when you're a teacher oftentimes is like, how far back into the rabbit hole do you go? Especially history. It's like, where do you start the story? Because everything has context. But let's put it all together like this for us to understand where we're getting to today. So tariffs, you have to step back and think about industrial revolution, creating products in industry to try to get your weight up, and then trying to sell that to the rest of the world. When you're a brand new baby country, a brand new babyhood, a brand new anything, you need to learn how to get what you gonna make, what you gonna be good at, and how you gonna make some bread. But since you the new kid on the block, people been making stuff the whole time, but you trying to get into the game. So the only way to get into the game is you gotta get your weight up. You gotta make something, you gotta develop a product that the rest of the world needs or can't get anywhere else. I know when I be making music, one thing I always have to remind myself is like, what's my unfair advantage? What do I have? What do I have to offer that you can't get from any other album? You know, there's 100,000 songs uploaded to stream to like DSPs a day. So I'm like, how do you get through the noise? Well, I have to offer something, or I have to try to offer something nobody else offers. It's still just rap music, but like, why me? So when you're a baby, young, scrappy country, you know, not the way my shot, right? You're trying to get in the game because apparently you can't just enslave people and make money from cotton because that's racist. Oh my God. You have to figure out how to make other stuff. You can't just export human. Now, you want your people to buy your stuff. But sometimes the people, as they were then, are now, like they stuff. And they like they stuff for cheap. So if I could get a better product somewhere else, I don't care how young and scrappy your government is or your country is. It don't make no difference to me. I need a pot. Because you have to remember, before the Industrial Revolution, most people made their own stuff. Or you had a blacksmith that like lived a few barns down. Like, you made your own clothes. There wasn't a mass manufacturing of anything. Everybody made their own stuff. And then you just traded among each other. It wasn't a big deal. Once our world got connected, right? Once we started like just at an exponentially alarming rate, just started extracting minerals from the ground, figuring out, thanks to, our Nazi friend, Henry Ford, to put together an assembly line, and you can make things with just replaceable parts where like widgets. It's like, I don't need a blacksmith to make a bespoke, custom, perfect screw like this. No, you just make interchangeable parts. I make 1 million of those screws and then 1 million of those bolts. And you just have them in a bucket and they could make anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything stopped being bespoke, right? But you try and get your weight up. You know, we building these factories. We trying to get on the map too. But the rest of the world had a head start. So at this point, almost everything, once the world got more connected, most of the stuff we was getting and giving and stuff like that, they had such a head start on us. It was like, well, how do we get our people to buy our stuff? So we say, well, we can't beat their prices. And it's kind of not fair because these people getting hella wealthy based on our appetite, but they're not buying our stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what do? Well, you set up these things initially to protect your industries. Now, I want you to remember that. You're trying to protect your own industries. And by doing that, while you are working to get your quality together as like a temporary thing, to be like, hold up, man, like, we need a chance to like catch up. Y'all just can't just like, this is our market. Like, this is our buyer base. Like, give me a second. If you just gonna sell to them, like, I'm never gonna catch up. So like, you know what, dude? Like, we're the ones running all the infrastructure here. We don't want hiring these people. We don't want giving them their money to be able to buy the stuff from you anyway. We paying for the street lights. We paying for the police. We paying for all this stuff. We're not getting no return from it as a government. So if you just gonna come over here and make money, like, I need a percentage of that. And this is why I say every gangster understands tariff. Right now, Big U was in the news. If you follow culture like I do, Big U is a famous Rolling 60 Crip who got out, and he started a lot of gang intervention programs for which I have directly been affected by in a good way. He got out. I was definitely a little older by the time he got out, but a lot of the little homies, even dudes that would have continued down routes that would have really ended their lives, kind of got involved in his programs. You know what I'm saying? And that, like, So as far as like the connection to the community, I owe a lot to his programs. Now, I'm saying this as somebody that's not a gang member. And you have to remember with gangs, they also have rivals. So just because this one person is getting a certain amount of like community notoriety or publicity or succeeding, they have enemies. In addition to what he was doing is he had sort of like an entertainment wing where he was managing a lot of artists, and one, not the least of which was Nipsey Hussle, because Nipsey was also a Rolling 60 Crip. Now, there's a tradition in California called checking in. Now, I remember in Detroit, they used to have like the no-fly zone. Like this was a famous thing in Detroit where they told rappers like, don't come here and perform. If you gonna come here doing the show here, we need to make a percentage and you need to put one of our artists on every time. And if I see you have a show, if I see your name on a flyer and it ain't no Detroit artist on here, I'm taking your whole bag and we taking over the show. The OG in Detroit charged a tariff. If you are coming here to make some money off your music, you need to put our artists on your bill. And if you don't, I'm shutting down and I'm taking your money. Just check in with us. We'll make it work out. So that now this is mutually beneficial. Our guys are making a little more money. You know what I'm saying? You're not just gonna use our city to fill your pocket. Checking in out here. I bring up Big U because he had a podcast called Checking In. And he talked often about the importance of when you come to California, you have to check in. Now, what that sold to to these young dumb rappers who want to get, you know, they want to go down to the hood and, you know, you want to shoot a music video down there, you want lolos, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to, you know what I'm saying? You want to look like you outside, like you real out here. But most importantly, you don't want your chain snatched. You don't want to get robbed the second you get to the hotel, because here's the thing. The person parking your car don't live in Beverly Hills. That person live in Compton. You think he ain't see you come off that car shining? You think he ain't called the homies to set you up? You think that man don't know what room you in because you had to give him the room number? Check in. So it's supposed to be that like, okay, so hey, I'm coming. You got me. You'll make sure like, now you got to remember you checking in with a man that's a total stranger. He don't know you, but he know you coming in here with bands and you finna make bands. So I made this joke before. It's like, you know, you get put on, you run 20 racks to the hood. You can shoot your video down here. Yeah, we'll make sure you don't get robbed by us. But then what the streets do, they call the set down the road, give them the access code. They rob you and then we split it. So you paid us to let you do this. We tried to protect you. You mess around and went somewhere else you wasn't supposed to, and them niggas robbed you. Now, you don't know that we sent them niggas over there. But like, of course he gonna, and then who you gonna call? Schoolboy Q has a great interview when he was on Drink Champs about all y'all niggas want to check in. Everybody wants to say our favorite thing. Y'all want to check in. You think this man who got enemies. That's what I mean by like, remember, like if you from a set, your set has enemies. You think those enemies are just gonna let you extort this dude when he come into town? You think that man really, like, why would he protect you? He gonna rob your dumb ass. Like that was the theory. You know what I'm saying? Now, far be it for me to speak out my neck about stuff I don't know. I don't know anything about really what happened with Big U. I know right now he's under federal investigation for like a straight like mafia style ring. Whatever he did, listen, I don't want the smoke. All I'm saying is don't come to California and pretend to be a gangster. It's going to cost you. Okay? Now that tariff might be the percentage you ran to his hood, but it might cost you more than that. It might cost you your safety. So here's what the lesson is. Listen, why do you even want to go down there anyway? Land in LAX, like Schoolboy say, go where it's fun. And like, he said, get you something to eat, you know, take it back to your hotel room, take your jewelry off, go to the club, you know what I'm saying, and enjoy yourself. Why are you trying to go to the hood? Like, why are it don't have to be like that. Lesson I've learned a long time ago is if I don't know nobody over there, I'm not going over there. People have asked me a few times, have been like, hey, can we do a thing where we, can you show us Compton? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not going to drive you through Compton to show you. Like, I don't know nobody over there. Why the hell would I take you? You can come to my hood. I know people over here. But no, I'm not sightseeing. I mean, I'll take you. You want to go see the Crenshaw and Slauson where the mural is? I'll let you go see the mural. But we not finna hang out in the 60s. Like, what is wrong with you? Right? Okay, let me get back on topic. So you take that, but you apply it to a country. Now, another way, like I said, in the little social media breakdown is the idea of all the Mexican gangs out here. Everybody knows everybody pays taxes. And they all pay taxes to the same people. I don't care what your gang is. Except for one, but that's some hood politics that y'all don't need to know about. If you are going to sell to our people, you need to pay a percentage to us first. And that money goes into the government treasury, which brings us to now. Y'all, America is $10 trillion in debt. I'm going to say that again and slower. America is $10 trillion in debt. Now that can't possibly be one person's fault. That ain't one president's fault. That's all of y'all. When you get a credit card, you know why your credit card got spending limits? Because of this. $10 trillion. Which you would say, that doesn't matter because we make the money. Why don't you just print a $10 trillion bill? Now you got inflation. Now, I think in one of the other ones I tried to explain what inflation was. Basically, if there's too much of it, it stopped having value, right? You guys remember collecting baseball cards, if you ever did, or any sort of sports cards, or Pokemons, or Yu-Gi-Ohs, whatever. I don't care what the hell you collect. Remember when there's not a lot of them, they're a rarity and they're worth more. It's the same with money. If it's too much money going around, it loses its value. It doesn't buy enough. That's overinflation that leads into a depression. You walk up with a barrel of dollars to try to buy a loaf of bread. Everything costs more because the money's not worth anything. Does that make sense? So you can't just print it. You have to generate it in a way that makes sense. You know what else talked about inflation in terms of tariff? I might be getting ahead of myself, but Ferris Bueller's teacher on Ferris Bueller's day off, but it was the day that Ferris ain't go to school. That's why he ain't learned this stuff. Roll the clip.
1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the the Great Depression, passed the the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised or lowered, raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
See? He tried to tell us. Now, what are other ways you can make money? You generate money for the government. You could either do land grants and bonds. You hear about those government bonds. And again, this goes back to the idea of imaginary money, where we get people to invest in the government, where you buy whatever dollar amount of a bond into the government, and then the government's promising that you get a return on that investment, and they cut you a check because you invested in the government. However, you just invested in something that owes $10 trillion. So I don't know why the hell you would do that. So you got to find another way to make some money. So if you the government, you like, where's all the bread going from? We're not making it in taxes. I mean, we could tax the wealthy more. I mean, we have the highest concentration of billionaires. We've concentrated almost all of the country's wealth to the top 1%, of none of which pay their fair share of taxes. I mean, you could just, why would we do that? Why would we tax the people that have the money? Why would we do that? That doesn't make any sense. You should make billionaires pay taxes, might get our money back. But Nah. Let's think of something else. Well, you got to find a way to make the money. So you make the money by generating ways to make money. One of those ways would be, we need more jobs. We need more jobs. You got to create the jobs. How you create the jobs is you got to build places for those people to work. Well, who going to pay to build those places for people to work? The government. The government ain't got no money. How we going to do that? And especially if you're a traditional Republican, you try not to spend no more, but you trying to make more, but you don't like taxes. What do you do? Well, one solution was you find people that you ain't got to pay a lot. That was immigration. So we took in a whole lot of illegal immigrants. Because you ain't got to pay them. You needed a workforce. The workforce is going to generate this money that's going to pay into the system. But then you like, what are you talking about? The illegal immigrants, they don't pay taxes. They absolutely pay tax. Are you paying attention? They absolutely pay tax. Anyway, so let's find the poorest people in the world and make them pay the taxes rather than the wealthiest. Let's keep moving because I'm still talking about tariffs. Y'all still talking about practice. So, but that's not going to be enough money. What you got to do, because it's not enough. If we just selling this stuff to ourselves, it's not like we're not getting nowhere. We need to be able to sell it to other people. But if they already got it, why would they buy it? Well, what do we have that they don't? Well, let's sell that to them, right? But what happens is if we are buying more from the country that we trying to sell to, we have what's called a trade deficit. That means we buy more than we sell. And that country's got a trade surplus. Means they sell more than they buy. That's our relationship with China. That's why your iPhone about to be $3,500 because we buy more products from them than we sell to them. What they do buy from us is soybeans, which we'll talk about later. But so the thought was we need every country to check in because every country ain't been checking in. Y'all just been out here like, at first the deal was like, if we're going to use the street thing, okay, listen, we'll send you, I'm going to be as crude as possible, so please forgive me. You can sell us fentanyl if we could sell y'all prostitutes. You can use our prostitutes if you send us fentanyl. And you know what? No harm, no foul. It's an even trade. That would be called tariff-free trade agreement, like NAFTA. It's all good. And, you know, these lines are stupid. Like our borders are, it's like, besides, like, you know, it's like if you were growing weed and you was growing opium and like, it's like, it just, if it's growing in El Paso, it's like, nigga, which part of El Paso is Mexico? Which part of it? Like, it's like the borders, it's fine. We don't have to like, let's just exchange the thing. Your hood, my hood, it's all good. Matter of fact, my OG was born in your neighborhood. So it doesn't even like, it's the same. It's all good. But what if you live in a neighborhood with just some absolute crackheads and they want fentanyl and crack and like, so then now they like, we got all that. We could give you every drug you want. And your people just buying it up and dying. But meanwhile, they not buying enough prostitutes for you to make any money from this. So you start looking around and being like, you know, they getting real rich off us. I know that's crude, but that's the point I'm trying to explain here. America looking around like, again, I'm explaining what a tariff is and actually what Trump's thinking, right? So like, well, we can't just let you come here and get rich, dog. Like I said, we're paying for all the infrastructure and like, we're obviously in debt. We need to figure out ways to make money. You're not buying this shit from us. So you're not buying stuff from us and you out here making money because all our people just buy your stuff. So even if we tried to make it, ain't nobody gonna like want to buy our shit because yours is cheaper and better. But that's not the point. And we can't make it cheaper because we don't believe in slave labor. And because y'all so racist that you don't want no immigrants. So like, what are we supposed to do? So they say, I know. This is what we going to do. We're going to charge y'all if y'all want to sell here. So if you're going to sell products here, and the way that Trump thought about it was, what's the percentage up you are of us? Like if you got 5 points up from us, then I'm going to charge you 10 points, right? So that it kind of even out. Does that make sense? I'm trying to even out. I'm trying to figure out how much money you making off us and how much money we not making off you. And I'm trying to like basically divide the two, figure out the number to decide what the tariff percentage is for your particular country. Now the reciprocal tariff is, what are you charging us? Well, F you, I'm going to charge you that. What's your percentage? Well, I'm going to do that percentage too. You don't get to make money off us. The bottom line is everything's made everywhere. Like, have you been on the planet in the last 100 years? Everything's made everywhere. There's no, I use this example before, there's not like a pancake mix of car. Like there's no batter that you just sit inside a vat and then what pops out is your Rivian. No, it's like the seat cushion is made in Scandinavia. The rivet is made in Canada. The tires is made in Wyoming. I'm making these places up. It's all made in different places. Even if you were to be like, we're gonna tariff cars coming in from Japan. Well, the problem is if the rivets that Japan uses are made in Pittsburgh, you just screwed Pittsburgh. Because guess what? The Japanese manufacturer ain't gonna buy the American-made rivets because you just tariffed us. But the idea is generally this. If you're gonna sell to us, I need a percentage of that. And that money goes into the US Treasury to hopefully pay down some of this debt. That's the first part of the plan. What he is hoping happens is it becomes so expensive to buy stuff made everywhere else that it's going to force people to shop in America. Because, again, this is Trump's mind. If you think in a world that is totally and unequivocally transactional, that we don't have friends, you don't have homies, you just have convenient partners. If they making more money than we are, then we lose. Not that we're not getting the service that we desire. If you look at, like, I don't know anyone complaining about the products they buy. I don't know anyone that says we wish this costs more. But if your theory is, if you making more money than me, then I'm losing. I want to make more money than you. You making more money off me than I'm making off you, then I'm losing. That this is not fair. That's why he would say the trade tariffs are unfair. We're going to make it fair. What he means is he needs to make more money, right? But if you notice, these new tariffs didn't include Canada and Mexico. Why? Because it's like you're untangling something that you can't. Everything's made everywhere. Most American-made products are also made in Canada, are also made in Mexico. Because because of the Free Trade Act between the two, like I said, like if you buying an American made boot, you understand what I'm saying? I don't know, the leather and the rubber is like the two things in the laces, like it's made in all three of our countries and then assembled in America, and we get to say that's an American made product. So yeah, like you really shooting yourself in the foot if you added these tariffs to these two countries. Because look, like here's what economist Pete Goodman said, who he's over at the New York Times. You could take that as whatever it takes that, but he's the economist in the New York Times. The numbers are, if you buy something from Mexico, like let's say you bought something made in Mexico, like 30 cents of every dollar was made in America. So like of that product, like 30 cents on the dollar was made. It was made here, even though it says made in Mexico. It's safe to say if 30 cents of each dollar you spend was an American job. But if you buy something from China, it's like 3 cents of it was American made. So you see how even in a global economy, in Trump's mind, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not making enough money. And it seemed like everything good. It seemed like everything happy, but I feel like y'all more happy than us. Yeah, we got our stuff, I guess, but like, my nigga, we need this bread. I can fast forward to the end. The real answer is over consumerism. The real answer is we need to stop buying shit at the level that we buying. Then everybody shuts up. I'm gonna put that to the side. His point is we need to make shit here. If we make it here, remember I said he's like kind of a 19th century guy. Like, anyway, so his thought is, I'm gonna read my notes over here. If it costs too much to buy out of the country, then eventually, not only does that make you look to American manufacturers, but you also create American manufacturers. So the business will boom. There'll be a job boom. Now you get to train all these new workers and you create new products and everybody's happy and there's new jobs, there's new businesses, and we're not relying on everybody else. Because if you are a manufacturer, you understand, even if you tried to buy American products, there's stuff we don't make. There's some shit we just can't grow. Bananas grow in tropical areas. You can have a GMO banana, but it ain't gonna be right. Bananas grow in tropical regions. No matter, I don't care what your tariffs say, the soil don't grow that. You know what I'm saying? There's some stuff that just doesn't grow here. But then there are other things that like, yo, maybe we can. Now, do we have the infrastructure for it? No. But the hope is if we invest in our factories, if we invest in things. Now, I know people, Mir, my favorite coffee cup company that I always work with, they have steel. They're like, we tried to buy American steel. You know how much that shit costs? And it's not enough. Dun, dun, dun. It's not enough. But the hope is we can make our products here, have this job boom. That's what he's thinking is happening. If I charge him, if I make it so I eliminate y'all, I eliminate everybody else by getting them off the board, by just making everything cost too much. That's the thought. Now, counterpoint. Next. Here we go. You know who made the greatest counterpoint? You ready for this? Who made the greatest counterpoint for extreme tariffs is Ronald Reagan. I'm going to play this clip.
You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity.
Did you follow what he was saying? This is the suspending reality stuff. It's the idea that if you believe in a free market economy, then you think that the competition between two different or competing companies will get us the best product at the lowest price because you're fighting for our dollars. If you, by government decree, make someone raise their prices, then you eliminate the need for competition. So this industry here, these factories might grow, but it's not real growth because your product's not better. You made up this, which means that if that tariff leaves, they get to go back to their actual price. You following me? This isn't really cheaper. The American product isn't really cheaper. It's not actually better. It's only cheaper because your law made that cost too much. Not their manufacturing costs. Your law did. Imagine if you're at school and you make the basketball team and you swear you the best hooper in the school. Let's just make it easier. You're in elementary school and you want to be the one that runs the fastest. I'm the fastest kid at our school. Well, that's only true if the kids that are faster than you got suspended or were not eligible and didn't make the grades. Are you really the fastest? Because once they suspension is over, once them kids get their grades up, then you not the fastest kid. That's what he's trying to say. The next problem with this is who actually pays the tariff, right? So who's paying the tariff? Eventually, like we said, it ends at us. We pay the tariff, right? But how it works is this. Let's just say you got an Etsy that's really popping, right? And you use textiles made in China. And you right at that bubble. You right at that look, if we could get this weight off, I got 10,000 orders waiting. I'm almost there. We almost cracking. But to get that shipping container off the docks and loaded into your truck, your courier service that's going to bring you, I know this shit because I had a coffee company. So when that coffee, we're switching metaphors, but that coffee from Ethiopia, which we had to pay Ethiopia to get it off their shores, but that's not your problem. But then once it got to America, I don't go down to Long Beach and get the container. No, the courier service does, which loads it into the freight truck that brings it to our factory. It brings the textile, bring the coffee to our factory. So when the government says there's a 50% tariff on this from this country on that product, somebody got to pay that bill or the stuff don't get off the shipping container. Now you think China gonna pay that? That's one option. But if China gonna pay that, and China I'm not finna just lose, that's y'all's problem. I'm not finna lose my profits. I set my price based on how much it cost us to make so we can make a profit. Y'all the one that, I ain't paying that, you pay that. I did my part. You brought the product. Now what you do with it, how it gets off the boat, that's on y'all. I delivered it. So that means the people that's receiving it's gonna have to pay. That's an American company. Now you think that people that's receiving that company just gonna eat that cost? Or you think they gonna roll that into me or into your Etsy thing that owns the textiles? You gonna have to pay for it. That's one way. And if I gotta pay for it, look, I'm the small business. Y'all could afford, I can't afford this. But I also can't afford to just leave the shit at the docks. So what I'm gonna do? I can't necessarily charge the consumer because I'm a small business. You'll go somewhere else. You can only sell so many things to your cousins. Eventually, you need customers you've never met. People used to ask, hey, Prop, why haven't you put Terraform Cold Brew on Amazon? I'm like, first of all, because they're evil. But secondly, because I can't afford it. I don't have enough. There's not enough profit more. I can't afford it. I would lose $1 on every can that I sold on Amazon. I can't afford it. Well, there's more customers on Amazon. You'll sell more. But do you understand? That's the sunken cost fallacy. If I lose $1 on one can, if I sell 100 cans, I still lost $1 on every can. So I lost $100. We just sold 100 cans, but I lost. Are you following me? So that means that somebody got to pay this extra 50%. Some of the countries have decided to say, well, how about we split this cost? Okay, everybody's losing. Let's split the cost. Now, who can eat that are your Walmarts, are your Targets. They could eat that cost. It is what it is. Are they going to eat that cost? No, they're going to spread it across multiple departments, right? Because is not Walmart just full of other products? You just spread it. You have to pay for shelf space. You just spread the cost among your 10,000 stores and you don't feel it, right? Everybody else ain't got that luxury. Is the other countries paying for it? Nigga, no. So eventually, who pays for it is us. And again, now back to Trump's hope is we're going to be like, I ain't paying for that. I'll buy this though. And then you'll buy the American stuff. Now, here's the problem with him thinking that that's the answer. It's factories in this imaginary Trump world are still created with parts made in other countries, which you just tariff. So I can't even make the factory because you just made it too expensive to make the factory. And also, we ain't made stuff at that scale in years. We ain't got the railways for it. We ain't got the roads for it. We ain't got the trucks for it. We not ready for that. The thing he imagined, we're not ready for it. And I don't know if you notice, everybody broke. Why? Nigga, inflation. Because the cost of stuff is not going up with the cost of wages. Niggas ain't got houses. What Healthcare costs too much. It'd be different. It'd be different. Listen, my dog is sick right now, which, God damn it, I have to buy pet insurance. I hate this world. Anyway, that would be fine if our health insurance as a family wasn't $1 trillion, but it is. And at the end of the day, American stuff right now, if we were to start right now, it just costs more. It's just like, so the price difference really ain't gonna be that serious. It's like, it's still gonna be too expensive. Now, how other countries are clapping back. Next. So the EU was like, and the rest of the world was like, oh, word, reciprocal tariffs. Okay, bet. Now, if you know us, if we like, all right, bet, that's a problem. Like that mean, oh, it's finna go down. Now, our biggest trade partner is the EU, because you have to remember that's 35 countries, right? It's 35 countries. And you know what they buy from us? They buy from us one of our biggest exports: tech, cloud services, software. We sell them Google. We sell them Oracle. We sell them Amazon. We also sell them whiskey and motorcycles. So they basically said, all right, this what you're trying to do? Well, what if we just, that's a nice Silicon Valley tech industry that you got there. It'd be shamed if anything happened to it. They could basically be like, all right, you finna tariff everything. Okay, how about we tariff your cloud services? Which of course is a gamble, because again, they make the most cloud services, but it's not like China don't make it. You think we the only people with server farms? Right now we might be the best, we might be the top got, but I tell you what, not if you keep playing like this. So that's one thing they said. It was, and listen, these tech folks, you have to understand, corporations want predictability. That's why the stock market acting crazy, because remember, the stock market's imaginary. This is what we think something gonna be worth. When you start doing stuff that we can't predict, niggas get scared, pull their money out. I'm not playing no games. I don't want the smoke. Companies don't want the smoke. So now these tech oligarchs who are basically making a brand new Versailles by just moving over there and holding court. Everybody moving to DC so you can be close to the president. I mean the king. I mean the monarch. I mean the dictator. I mean the president. They moving over there to be close to him because you just trying to hold court. Game of Thrones and shit. You got to be around the palace to get what you want. My nigga, you playing games with our money now. Because if the EU start tariffing Oracle, that's going to be a thing. The EU is specifically 27 countries. I said 35 because I was exaggerating. But in China buys a lot of our soybeans because that's our thing we got that they don't. And they for sure like soy. But guess what? They don't have to buy it. They say, okay, word, what if we tariff your soy 34%? Maybe. Now, if Trump's concept of like, this is just a negotiation tactic, I'm just trying to get y'all to the table by acting like this. If that's the thing, that's quite a gamble. Because again, remember, America is $10 trillion in debt. And what this gamble means is, if it works, hats off, cuz. But if it don't work, it's the 1930s. But at the end of the day, your Nintendo Switch 2 ain't coming. And your iPhone 16 Plus, nigga, your iPhone 17 is about to be $3,500. Tariffs. So how much your dollar costs? The entire stock market. Hood politics. All right, now don't you hit stop on this pod. You better listen to these credits. I need you to finish this thing so I can get the download numbers, okay? So don't stop it yet. But listen, this was recorded in East Los Boyle Heights by your boy Propaganda. Tap in with me at prophiphop.com. If you're into cold brew coffee, we got Terraform Cold Brew. You can go there.com and use promo code HOOD, get 20% off, get yourself some coffee. This was mixed, edited, and mastered by your boy Matt Osowski, killing the beat softly. Check out his website, mattosowski.com. I'm going to spell it for you because I know. MATTOSOWSKI.com, matosowski.com. He got more music and stuff like that on there, so go and check out the heat. Hood Politics is a member of Cool Zone Media, executive produced by Sophie Lichterman, part of the iHeartMedia Podcast Network. Your theme music and scoring is also by the one and only Matt Osowski, still killing the beat softly. So listen, don't let nobody lie to you. If you understand urban living, you understand politics. These people is not smarter than you. We'll see y'all next week.